Some crimes are solved, some secrets stay buried. Welcome to Buried Motives True Crime. Before we begin, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more chilling true crime stories. Now, let's uncover the truth. Money leaves a trail. No matter how carefully it is hidden, no matter how many borders it crosses or how many companies it passes through, someone eventually notices. That belief drove investigators across Europe as they pursued what authorities allege was one of the most sophisticated financial networks ever linked to organized crime. At first, nothing appeared unusual. Luxury apartments were purchased through companies with unfamiliar names. High-value vehicles were registered to legitimate businesses. International wire transfers moved through several countries before disappearing into layers of corporate ownership. Individually, every transaction appeared ordinary. Together, investigators believed they formed something far more dangerous. A financial network stretching from Dublin to Spain, through the Netherlands and the United Arab Emirates, connecting businesses, investments, and international banking systems in ways few people ever questioned. Authorities alleged they had uncovered more than a drug trafficking organization. They believed they had found the financial engine that powered one of Europe's most influential organized crime groups. For years, investigators had seized cocaine shipments worth millions of euros, but every seizure raised the same question. Where did the money go? Drug trafficking could generate enormous profits in a matter of weeks. Yet cash hidden in bags or vaults was useless unless it could enter the legitimate economy. According to investigators, that challenge led to the creation of an alleged financial network designed to disguise criminal wealth behind legitimate business activity. The deeper authorities looked, the more complicated the picture became. Every company appeared connected to another. Every financial record pointed toward another jurisdiction. Every answer uncovered another mystery. Then, in April 2022, the investigation reached an international turning point. The United States Department of the Treasury imposed sanctions on Daniel Kinahan, Christopher Kinahan Sr., Christopher Kinahan Jr., and several associated businesses. At the same time, the U.S. State Department announced rewards of up to $5 million for information leading to the disruption of the Kinahan organized crime group or the arrest and conviction of key members. The investigation was no longer viewed as an Irish problem. It had become a global financial investigation. Daniel Kinahan has denied involvement in organized crime, and many allegations discussed throughout this documentary have not been tested in an Irish criminal court. Wherever allegations are mentioned, they are identified as such and distinguished from verified facts and official law enforcement statements. Because understanding modern organized crime requires following something more powerful than violence. It requires following the money. And according to investigators, that trail led toward an alleged empire hidden behind businesses, investments, and financial networks that had operated quietly for decades, until the world finally began paying attention. If you enjoy deeply researched true crime documentaries that separate verified facts from speculation, take a moment to like this video, share it with another true crime fan, subscribe to Buried Motives True Crime, and turn on notifications. Every week, we uncover the hidden stories behind organized crime, financial crime, and the investigations that changed history. Criminal empires are rarely sustained by violence alone. According to investigators, money was the true foundation of the Kinahan organized crime group. Every shipment that allegedly reached its destination generated enormous profits. But earning millions was only half the operation. The real challenge was making that money appear legitimate. Authorities believe the answer lay in an international financial network stretching across multiple countries and industries. Modern organized crime no longer depends solely on armed enforcers. Investigators say it increasingly relies on accountants, business advisors, corporate structures, and financial intermediaries capable of moving wealth across borders without attracting attention. As profits increased, so did the complexity of the financial system. Authorities examined property purchases in Spain and the United Arab Emirates, reviewed company registrations across several jurisdictions, and traced banking activity moving through multiple countries before reaching its destination. Viewed individually, the transactions appeared routine. Viewed together, investigators believed they revealed an organization designed to blend illicit wealth into the legitimate economy. Rather than relying on a single company or country, authorities allege the network operated through multiple layers. If one business attracted attention, others remained untouched. If one financial route was disrupted, another continued operating. That resilience frustrated investigators for years. Every company led to another transaction. Every transaction pointed toward another country. The investigation quickly expanded beyond Ireland, bringing together financial analysts, customs officers, tax authorities, and organized crime specialists from across Europe. Rather than simply following suspects, investigators began following the money. And that decision would expose an entirely new side of the Kinahan investigation. The deeper investigators followed the money, the clearer one fact became. They were no longer chasing a single fortune. They were uncovering what authorities believed was an entire financial system. According to investigators, the Kinahan organized crime group did not rely on one bank account, one company, or even one country. Instead, they allege the organization built layers of protection designed to separate criminal profits from the crimes that generated them. Every layer made the investigation more difficult. Cash generated through alleged drug trafficking was only the beginning. Before that money could be spent openly, investigators believe it had to pass through businesses, investments, and financial transactions that disguised its true origin. That process became one of the highest priorities for financial investigators. They examined company registrations, banking records, property purchases, tax documents, and international transfers, searching for patterns hidden within millions of ordinary financial transactions. Every document became another piece of a puzzle that stretched far beyond Ireland. Authorities identified Spain as one of the organization's most important operational hubs. Its location offered access to major shipping routes, an active property market, and an international business environment where large financial transactions rarely attracted attention. But Spain was only one part of a much larger picture. Investigators also examined alleged financial links reaching into the Netherlands, Belgium, the United Kingdom, the United Arab Emirates, and other jurisdictions. Each country revealed another layer of complexity. Money rarely stayed in one place for long. Authorities allege funds moved through multiple businesses before reaching their final destination, making the trail increasingly difficult to follow. It was like tracing a river that constantly changed its course. Traditional policing was no longer enough. Financial investigators worked alongside tax authorities, customs officials, anti-money laundering specialists, and international intelligence agencies. Instead of searching for fingerprints or DNA, they searched for invoices, company records, banking data, and digital financial trails. The investigation had become as much about accounting as crime. Another pattern soon caught investigators' attention. Authorities believed appearances played a crucial role in protecting the alleged organization. Luxury homes, successful businesses, international investments, professional sporting connections. To the public, these often appeared to be signs of legitimate success. To investigators, they raised difficult questions. Could legitimate businesses be used to conceal criminal proceeds? Could corporate structures disguise the true ownership of valuable assets? Could international investments create another layer between criminal profits and the people who controlled them? Professional boxing also became part of that scrutiny because of Daniel Kinahan's role as a boxing advisor. Supporters viewed his work in boxing as a legitimate business venture. Investigators examined whether those relationships formed part of a wider financial picture. Daniel Kinahan has denied criminal wrongdoing, and no court has found that his involvement in boxing was itself criminal. Even so, authorities believed the financial trail was becoming clearer. This was no longer simply an investigation into narcotics trafficking. It had become an investigation into wealth, where it originated, how it moved, who ultimately benefited from it. According to investigators, every company, every property purchase, and every international transfer added another piece to what they believed was one of Europe's most sophisticated financial networks. The money itself had become the evidence, and investigators believed it was slowly leading them toward the heart of an alleged criminal empire that had spent decades hiding behind legitimate business activity. But the biggest breakthrough was still to come. Because in 2022, governments around the world decided they would no longer target only the people. They would target the money itself. By 2022, investigators believed they finally understood what made the alleged Kinahan empire so difficult to dismantle. It was never built around one person. According to authorities, it was built around a financial system designed to survive. For years, police agencies across Europe had concentrated on intercepting drug shipments and arresting suspected associates. Those operations disrupted trafficking routes, but investigators say the organization adapted. New suppliers emerged. Alternative smuggling routes were established. Vacant positions were quickly filled. The alleged business kept moving. That realization forced law enforcement to rethink its strategy. Instead of asking where the drugs were going, investigators began asking where the profits were ending up. The answers led to one of the largest coordinated financial investigations ever linked to Irish organized crime. Ireland's Criminal Assets Bureau intensified efforts to identify assets believed to be connected to criminal activity. Europol expanded intelligence sharing between European police agencies. The United Kingdom's National Crime Agency increased cooperation with Garda investigators, while financial intelligence units worked alongside tax authorities, customs officials, and banking specialists. Each agency possessed a different piece of the puzzle. Together, investigators believed they were beginning to expose the financial framework behind the alleged organization. Then came the most significant international response. In April 2022, the United States Department of the Treasury imposed sanctions on Daniel Kinahan, Christopher Kinahan Sr., Christopher Kinahan Jr., and several businesses alleged to be connected to the organization. At the same time, the U.S. State Department announced rewards of up to $5 million for information leading to the disruption of the Kinahan organized crime group or the arrest and conviction of key members. It was an extraordinary step. Rarely had an Irish organized crime investigation attracted that level of international attention. The strategy marked a major shift. Authorities believed that targeting financial infrastructure could accomplish what years of arrests alone had struggled to achieve: restrict access to banking systems, freeze assets, disrupt international business relationships, limit the movement of money across borders. Without those financial lifelines, investigators believed even the most sophisticated criminal organizations could become vulnerable. Daniel Kinahan has denied involvement in organized crime, and many of the allegations discussed in this documentary have not been tested in an Irish criminal court. Those legal facts remain an important part of the story. Even so, the international investigation continued to gather momentum. Across Europe, authorities announced major seizures of cocaine, firearms, cash, luxury vehicles, and high-value properties connected to wider organized crime investigations. Financial investigators continued examining corporate records, international transactions, and business structures they believed had been used to conceal criminal wealth. The investigation also transformed the way law enforcement approaches organized crime. The modern crime boss no longer needs to control a neighborhood from the streets. According to investigators, influence can now be exercised through encrypted communications, corporate ownership, international investments, and financial networks that span multiple continents. The battlefield had changed, and so had the methods used to fight it. For investigators, this was no longer simply a criminal investigation. It had become a race to expose a financial empire before it could evolve once again. But even after years of surveillance, sanctions, and international cooperation, one question remained unanswered. Could authorities truly dismantle an organization built on money rather than territory? Or had organized crime already entered a new era where financial power mattered more than fear? The answer would shape the future of international law enforcement. Every financial empire leaves behind a signature, not in headlines, not in public speeches, but in the movement of money. Investigators believe that is what ultimately brought unprecedented international attention to the Kinahan organized crime group. Drugs could be destroyed. Encrypted phones could be discarded. Suspected associates could disappear. But financial records often outlive the people connected to them. A company registration, a property purchase, an international wire transfer. Each transaction became another thread in a much larger investigation. According to authorities, what began as a criminal network rooted in Dublin evolved into an organization capable of operating across multiple continents. Rather than relying solely on intimidation and violence, investigators allege the group embraced logistics, international partnerships, legitimate businesses, and complex financial structures designed to move wealth across borders. That evolution changed organized crime. It also changed law enforcement forever. Today, financial intelligence sits at the heart of major organized crime investigations. Detectives now work alongside forensic accountants, tax specialists, customs officials, banking experts, and international intelligence agencies. Their objective is no longer limited to intercepting drugs or arresting suspects. It is to dismantle the financial systems that allow criminal organizations to survive. Instead of asking who committed a crime, investigators increasingly ask who profited from it. Instead of focusing on individual offenders, they examine entire networks of companies, investments, and financial relationships. Authorities believe that following the money often reveals far more than following the violence. Daniel Kinahan has consistently denied involvement in organized crime, and many of the allegations discussed throughout this documentary have not been tested in an Irish criminal court. Those legal facts remain essential and should always be considered alongside official law enforcement statements and public court records. Even so, investigations involving individuals and businesses alleged to be connected to the Kinahan organized crime group continue across several jurisdictions. Authorities have seized drugs, firearms, luxury assets, cash, and properties through wider organized crime investigations, while financial investigators continue examining corporate records and international transactions they believe may reveal hidden criminal wealth. Whether those efforts will permanently dismantle the alleged organization remains uncertain. History has shown that when one criminal network weakens, another often attempts to take its place. That is why this story reaches far beyond one family or one alleged organization. It is the story of how organized crime evolved. The modern criminal empire is no longer built only with guns and intimidation. According to investigators, it is increasingly built with financial systems, corporate structures, international partnerships, encrypted technology, and the ability to disguise illicit wealth as legitimate success. The streets of Dublin may have been where investigators believe this alleged empire first took shape, but its financial footprint stretched far beyond Ireland, across Europe, into the Middle East, through global banking systems, and into an international economy where billions of dollars move every single day. Perhaps that is the greatest challenge facing law enforcement in the 21st century, not simply stopping crime, but identifying it before it disappears behind another company. Another investment, another international transfer. Every hidden empire casts a shadow. The question is whether investigators can follow that shadow all the way back to its source before another one rises in its place. So what do you think? Can governments truly dismantle global criminal organizations by targeting their finances? Or will modern cartels always find new ways to hide their wealth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this investigation, please take a moment to like this video and share it with another true crime fan. Subscribe to Buried Motives True Crime and turn on notifications so you never miss our next documentary. Every week, we bring you deeply researched investigations that separate verified facts from speculation, uncover hidden financial networks, and reveal the motives buried beneath the headlines. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, every crime leaves evidence. Sometimes the loudest evidence isn't found at the crime scene, it's found in the money.